They want to prevent that from ever happening in the future. And what these group of people envisioned was that they were determined to achieve the peace and fulfillment. They were determined that cross-cultural understanding would be the solution to make sure that World War III would never happen again. And what they envisioned was the peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential. They wanted this to never happen again. And in order to achieve that peace and fulfillment, they believed that in order for world wars to never happen again, we have to understand each other culturally and how each other work. However, this was back in 1948, just after a world war happened, just after all this tension, all this misunderstanding had happened, all these reasons. And since 1948, since post-World War II, the world has changed. It's been about 65 years, and we're not facing the same issues that we were back then. And the issues we're facing today are very different. And I just want you guys, what are some of the issues that we are facing in today's society? Just say it out.
What's real?
Pardon?
What's real? We might know this is an orphan guy. At the end, he's not an orphan. Yeah.
Definitely. Like, say that a bit louder.
Climate change.
Anyone else? There are hundreds of issues, and these are just not even the main ones, but just some of the ones affecting the world. And none of these were those issues that we were facing back in 1948. Drug abuse, poverty, pollution, the use of money into the wrong areas, protesting. All these things are the things that we're facing back when it was 1948, and the things that are affecting our world now. And in order to solve these, what we believe in ISET is that leadership is the solution to addressing these issues. That each and every student, and each and every youth has the potential to address these issues and make some kind of change. And that's why we in ISET, we place our confidence in the youth so that they can address these issues. They can start to develop themselves in some kind of way so that they can come to some kind of realization of how they can work to address the issues in the world today. But you guys may be asking, why would we focus on leadership? Of all the things that we can focus on to address these issues or to develop in youth, why is leadership the one thing that we focus on? Does anyone remember what this was from? Sure you know. Do you want to explain it briefly?
I think it was fake, yeah, and it was yeah.
Basically, a hostage situation.
This happened 2 years ago in Sydney, and yeah, like they said, it was a hostage situation, and it was after these events that the entire country viewed the Muslim culture as something negative, and they associated it with terrorism, and there was a lot of Islamophobia going around the entire country. However, there was one person who started a movement, and this movement was that I'll Ride With You hashtag campaign. Not campaign, sorry, hashtag. Several days after that incident, one person posted this up after a situation on a bus ride, and immediately across the country, it sparked a movement. And it was an action by one person, one everyday person in the general population, who sparked a movement which was recognized by millions of people across the world, and changed the entire way we view Islamophobia and how we actually face that situation of the Sydney siege. And this situation actually happened about 1.5 years ago. And when I asked my friends about this, what was the most recent, effective, inspiring type of leadership they'd seen in the country, this was the first thing that came to their mind. And even though this happened 1.5 years ago, it's something that a lot of the people recognized as the way we addressed an issue facing our country. Rather than continuing on with Islamophobia and hating towards Muslim people, one person sparked that movement, and the way we face that situation changed how Australia was viewed in the world and how Muslims were viewed in the world. And it's a simple act of just one person showing that kind of everyday leadership. One simple act would spark a movement. And these 4 things are just some of the things that ISEC has worked towards addressing. Last year, when there was a situation between Indonesia and Australia with boycott Bali, in ISEC, we aim to send people to Indonesia to explore more than Indonesia and show that to Australians, Indonesia is more than just Bali. And for Balinese people, for Indonesian people, the Australians are more than just party goers. Same thing with El and in Bahrain. This was to show them the real Middle East. That Middle East was not just a country full of terrorism, but it was a country full of culture and people who were nothing like what the media portrays. The Salam program between the US and the Middle East, after 9/11, the US and Middle East aimed to send people to the to the Middle East to show them that Muslim people were not just full of terrorism, it wasn't full of terrorism, and that there was so much more behind them. And even between India and Pakistan, they've been working together to address their cultural differences and address all the wars that are going on between the borders. And it's simple things like these, plus thousands more, not only by ISEC, but by organizations, by individuals, by people all around the world, that we believe that leadership is the fundamental solution to addressing what the world's issues are and how we can move forward. But leadership is a very fluffy concept. It can be very vague, and people often misunderstand what leadership really is. So, what is leadership?
In my perspective, it's just creating value within people, so you can, at the end, so you will make your own value.
Anyone else?
I guess on the same line, it's about getting the most out of the resources that we have, whether that be the team or the tools. Yeah, it's more fun.
So I guess similar to what has been said, it's about inspiring others to believe in what you see as good, as what you believe in. So you accumulate followers as you therefore kind of endorse your leadership.
Definitely. And I'll ask a question. So, who here thinks they are a leader?
In some aspects of my life.
So, do you guys want to just elaborate why you think that?
I'm the eldest in my sibling kind of thing, so I'm a leader in that sense.
Me too.
Yeah. At work, I have a bit more autonomy in what I do and how I do because of how long I've been there. So that kind of people will come to me in certain instances.
I felt I'm the oldest usually within my people, so I felt like always, even my friends, they always asking me what should I do. I kind of took that kind of thing the way I felt sometimes, like, come on, let's do it, push.
And for everyone else who didn't raise their hand, why do you think you're not a leader? Or why do you say you're not a leader?
I probably don't consider myself a leader in some circumstances because you can be really influenced by the crowds or other people's opinion. Like it's often very So you kind of have to, doesn't really matter what other people say or what they think, but you kind of need to show what you believe by actually taking action. Because most people, they say, oh, I'll give to the poor, I'll give to homeless people, but every time you see them, they just walk straight past, but they consider themselves kind, and are they really?
Anyone else?
It's a very uncomfortable question.
Why is that?
It's kinda challenging because am I being arrogant because I'm saying I'm a leader? I think I'm a leader, or I think I'm saying that because I really believe I am. You know, like which area I'm standing at this point. You know, like, I didn't think I just answered. All right, but now like I'm asking myself, all right, why I didn't say that?
I think we also have a mindset in our generation about accumulating things for ourselves, and that kind of stops us from becoming a leader for others. So it's more and more about what we can get, what we can gain, what makes us better, but not necessarily for others, if that makes sense. It stops me from being a leader.
And just one more person want to just say what they think.
What about your answer?
I'd say yes, but I still have a long way to go. The way I believe it, anyone can be a leader. It's just about what you do about that, or what you're going to do and how you're going to do that. That's how I see it. No one else? That's fine. And like you were saying, the way I always also see leadership is that it's a journey. You're not just suddenly a leader. It starts off with taking that first step. And it's about what you do from that first step. And how you're going to move forward. And that's why I honestly do believe anyone and everyone can be a leader. It's just about what you do. And 4 years ago, I was sitting in the same room, same situation, about to go on my change, and I was asked the same question. And everyone in the room was just everyone said no. And it was there that we were actually challenged, and we were actually told that anyone can be a leader, and what was that view we had on leadership? And it was there that we realized, or that I realized, that yes, anyone can be a leader, and it was that day, that ODS, where I'd taken that first step to becoming a leader, or working towards starting that leadership journey. Now, like I mentioned before, there are a lot of broad issues in today's society. And in ISEC, we do believe that leadership is that solution. However, there are hundreds of types of leadership. Everyone has a different view on leadership. And so, what exactly is that type of leadership that is needed to address the world issues? Just take like a few minutes into small groups and discuss it with the people around you.